Hey, I'm Hallie, and in the last hour, we are hearing from somebody who used to represent somebody else who used to represent Donald Trump. How's that? Right? A guy named Robert Costello, who testified to a grand jury in Manhattan. And if you're like, I don't know who Robert Costello is, here's what you need to know, that it is possible he's the last one to speak to this grand jury before they may possibly decide to indict Donald Trump. That would be history-making. We have never seen this before. We have never seen criminal charges against a former president. We may not see them, right? But if they do come down, Donald Trump seems to think it is going to be potentially tomorrow. You've got this guy, Robert Costello, attacking somebody else involved in this, Michael Cohen, blasting Michael Cohen's credibility, saying that he's got the receipts to show that Cohen, who used to represent Donald Trump, who's involved in this alleged hush money scheme, he's saying Cohen's a liar.
My only mission there today was to tell the truth about what Michael Cohen was saying at any point in time during the time that we were representing him. I wouldn't have touched a guy like Michael Cohen, especially if he's a convicted perjurer. Not to mention, as I said, the 50 to 100 lies he told us that are in those 330 emails.
That statement just in the last couple of minutes as he wrapped up his testimony in front of a grand jury, which is in turn seeming to be wrapping up its investigation into that alleged payment to former adult film star Stormy Daniels. Now, Michael Cohen was going to testify, too, as a rebuttal witness, but his lawyer is telling our team prosecutors didn't even need him. With the legal fallout still TBD, you've got the political piece of it that's just beginning to pick up speed. Right? The city is getting ready for protests in New York because Mr. Trump has told his supporters to get out there and demonstrate. These are some of the barricades being brought at the Manhattan's DA's office. Mr. Trump says he didn't do anything wrong on this. He's making those denials clear on his Truth Social platform. And he's got some friends circling the wagons for him. His allies on Capitol Hill are sending a letter first obtained by NBC News asking that Manhattan DA to come in front of them, answer some questions. They're accusing him of interfering in the 2024 election, since Mr. Trump is, of course, a presidential candidate. There's also somebody else who could be a Republican presidential candidate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, after days of silence, now going after the New York prosecutor.
And he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments. You know, that's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office.
We're going to break down the political context with our Ali Vitale in a second, but I want to start with Gabe Gutierrez outside the courthouse in New York. Just saw this guy Costello, Robert Costello, come out with like a big packet of emails. He's like, I got 300 emails. He's bringing props, etc. He says Michael Cohen paid Stormy Daniels with his own money, that Mr. Trump didn't know about it. This is likely a preview of maybe the defense that the Trump team will put up if, in fact, he is indicted. And I got to tell you, Gabe, that's the question everybody wants to know. Is it going to happen, and is it going to happen this week?
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. That is the big question. And right now we're trying to get more clarity on what is the next step in this, whether, he was indeed the last witness. He was believed to be, but there could be another curveball, and we just don't know for sure at this point. But Robert Costello, as you mentioned a short time ago, holding up those more than 300 emails, he says, that communication between Michael Cohen and his law firm. He says that he was only asked about 6 of those emails, saying that they were cherry-picked out of context, and seemed to be frustrated at the direction that prosecutors went during his grand jury testimony. He said that Michael Cohen was on a, quote, revenge tour, in his words, saying that he wanted to get back at former President Trump, that at one point he wanted to pay his legal bills, and that also Michael Cohen was trying to avoid jail time, was desperate, and would basically say anything to avoid that jail time. Of course, he did spend some time in jail, but at this point, Michael Cohen says that he is telling the truth, and that it was Donald Trump that ordered him to pay Stormy Daniels that $130,000 in hush money. Robert Costello today reiterating that Cohen made that payment unbeknownst to Donald Trump. And earlier today, our team also spoke with Randy Davis, Michael Cohen's attorney. Take a listen to what he had to say.
The fact is that the federal prosecutors say that Michael Cohen was directed by the President of the United States. The fact is he signed checks while he was president in 2017 to repay Michael Cohen. That's undisputed. Whatever Mr. Costello or Mr. Trump supporters, they have a right to their opinions. I just stay on what are the facts.
And again, Robert Costello walking out of this courthouse, or driving out of this courthouse a short time ago, Hallie. And as you said, Michael Cohen expected to be here as a rebuttal witness. His lawyer tells NBC News that the prosecution said they didn't need him. Hallie?
Gabe, I'm looking at the corner where you're standing there. I imagine it is probably bike racks, generally, as far as the eye can see. Talk to me about the way that they are getting ready now, law enforcement is, for the possibility of protests. Are we seeing any materialize so far? What is the expectation? What's the vibe?
Well, it's funny you asked that, Hallie. Actually, just a short time ago, we have seen a few demonstrators, and I should stress a few. At this point, it's maybe a few dozen that have shown up here on the other side of the cameras here. And there have been steel barricades that were put up earlier in the day. And, Hallie, over the last several days, our team has been speaking with several law enforcement agencies, and several sources have told NBC News that they are actively preparing for the logistical and security challenges that would come with this potential unprecedented indictment of a former president of the United States. Now, today, we did see those security barricades that have gone up. Certainly, there's a lot of media in this area. It's very tight here in this portion of lower Manhattan. And certainly, it is something that law enforcement agencies are preparing for here. But again, we have not seen major protests materialize at this point. Just a few pro-Trump demonstrators tonight, organized by a local group, that are showing up with a few signs. However, nothing major so far. We do not have any indication, Hallie. Of course, the former president saying over the weekend that he expected protests and was calling for protests tomorrow when he predicted he might be arrested. We have not seen anything of that materialize so far. The big question, of course, on everyone's mind, when could a potential indictment be handed down?
And I have to say, I think there's a lot of people who are going, okay, well, Donald Trump said tomorrow seems to be the day. His team has also clarified it's not like they say they have gotten some formal notification, at least not as of like 24 hours ago. So it could, even though Mr. Trump says tomorrow, it could also not be tomorrow. I just want to make that clear, right? I mean, truly, we just don't know.
That's a very strong point, Hallie. His spokesperson later clarified that he did not have direct knowledge. It could be, and I'm speculating here, it could be that he heard that a potential witness was the last witness could be coming today on Monday, and perhaps he thought something could happen on Tuesday. But that has not been confirmed. We do not have a firm timeline on when that indictment could come or if it will happen at all.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.